Hello and welcome. Today is Thursday, the 7th day of September 2017. Welcome. My name is Derek, and let's go over the precious metals as well as the currency index as well, the dollar index, as well as the cross within the Canadian dollar, starting with the DXY daily chart. And this spans back to November, but we can see that the high close to 104 occurred when the year started. And for the entire run, there has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you want to count that one, 7 lower highs in a row. A couple matching lows, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, and now we're making another lower low from in here. So you ask yourself, the question is, how big of a leg lower will the next one have? Well, I stated the first two are matching lows, but this was technically a lower low, but barely. It did make, of course, one of the many lower highs, and this one was again technically lower again, but not by much. This low to this low, there's a decent leg difference from this one to this one, and big difference from this point to this point. So then we have this one to this one, decent leg size. And now where is it going to stand? What's the next key level of support? So when you look at these charts, you got to change the time frames to see further. We're in the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. And if we're looking to where we're supposed to stop going down to, well, we can talk about a former area of key support as well as even some resistance as well in this little band that it's pierced through. Even this low in here. It's technically taking this low out. So now we're at levels not seen since we were looking on the way up. And that was a big run that it had just straight up in 2014 as it was going from the handle of, well, in May, June, from 79 all the way up to 100 without much of a correctionary move. So if it's able to have that type of style all the way up, that doesn't mean just because it's down so much and it's at a key area that it should stop going lower. And another way I look at market conditions that are overbought, oversold, all that kind of stuff. If you're talking to me in here, yeah, I'll say oversold, but I don't now. And yet, well, why is that not the case? If it was oversold here, wouldn't it be more so if it's down another $3 or 3 points on this? Well, the way I look at it is, if you're not finding support where you're supposed to, and you're kind of supposed to find it in here, and it technically did find a little bit of support in here, if that's all it's going to be, that's a very bearish signal. And I know there's a lot of room in which it can come from, at least a 61.8% down correction from here to here. And just eyeballing that, you're looking towards in here. But again, we're going to change the time frame, see what we can see more on a monthly. And when I look at it from here, I can see that it was a little bit of a key areas between, let's call it 83 to about 89. Was the level of resistance in here. That was, of course, the 89, and then the resistance on the next part came in at 83. So if it's going to go through this support level, it's barely a clear break at this stage. I would expect at least continuation towards this area in which it came from. And when I move this over on the cross now, we'll look at the monthly chart between the US and the Canadian dollar now. And when we take a look at this through the key highs and lows, we can see that it bottomed at the end of 2002 into 2003. That's when silver bottomed at $4. And then it had this high up into 2007, midway through the year. Well, a few months later, silver topped. Keyword, a few months later. I'm going to get into that at the end of that when I'm talking about these key highs and lows. Everything pretty much bottomed here, so that's like whatever. But then here we have a top in the Canadian dollar in early 2011. That's when silver was $50. So silver topped in this area at around 21. Silver then bottomed here at 8 and change, and then it topped here at 50. And then this bottom is pretty much where the silver bottom is, pretty much around the same time. This bottom is around 13, I think. And is it the bottom? Because tops and bottoms are known after the fact. And it's getting to the stage where I can say it's looking like this trend is reverting. And I've talked about this for many, many weeks, a few months now. As I've talked about this declining move here, going sideways within this band, a long sideways consolidation, and now it's broke this resistance. I thought what was really important after this period to make it to previous high here was how it was going to handle the next period, which was August. And it handled it really well on a bullish level by pulling back a little bit and closing where it was before. And now it's totally 7 days into this month broken well past this previous key level. So it looks like this is going to be that reversal of trend. And as I stated before, silver price many months after this top was in the case. And will this be a case that many months after, or many decent period of time anyway, after this is confirming a bull market, maybe silver will on the monthly chart? Let's put that chart on now. And in comparison times, early 2000, there's the $4 bottom. This was the top early 2008. The Canadian dollar topped around here. And of course, this matching bottom. This top pretty much matches, as well as so far this low. But the difference within this chart is, well, it has the same thing. Up average here, going down, resisting it all the way through. Band has been in a flattening situation, but it hasn't gotten past that stage. So it still needs to be able to find a way to get above this significant resistance from early 2016. And then, of course, getting past that, don't be surprised to have a fast move to this little area here where it came from, where support was 26, 25 area, even upwards to about 30. And then for now, how do we see these last three periods? We had the situation where price action flashed down towards the 1450 when they had the flash crash a few months back now. It had a bull market, or a bull market, a bull month last month, and it's continuing well. It's still within the neutrality stage, and anything from 14 to 21 is in such. And we take a look at this on the weekly time frame, it's nothing but choppiness. What I can say, though, is that it has broken out past this 18 average, out of the neutrality range, trying to establish a nice bull run. There was a pretty decent one in here, but this one, of course, was a failed attempt, and we'll see how this one transpires. But like I've been stating with the Canadian dollar, I wouldn't be surprised if these markets do revert to the upside long term. Daily time frame, we can see that it came from this 17 area. So if there's going to be any decent correctionary moves down, look at this maybe for a possible area where it might find support. But also this little breakout in here, which coincides with the June high, as it's now taking that out, and it's had a clear break above it. So I'd be looking as short-term resistance now at around the 1850 mark, which is where we had the 2 times hit high in here. And then the 2 support levels is where I got my lines drawn in, which is this previous resistance below 17, or at around 1770. And then again at around the 17 handle, which coincides in here. And of course, this resistance as well. Gold is next, and looking at its daily time frame, it's at highs not seen within this point of view, which is going back to October. It is now at the election high area, because what happened on this day, which was election night last year, is it was early on in the night when they realized there was a damn good chance that President Trump now, was going to win. So that was bullish for gold. Yet when the night went on and it was, yeah, Donald Trump is going to be president, then the price tanked. And it tanked for several days after it, going from 1344 down to about 1120, a little over that. And that happened quickly. And in a lot longer of a period of time, it has made this one leg higher to this point in here, done a lot of this sideways neutrality, but it didn't resist in here. This is the thing. It didn't resist. It's continued going higher. That's making a statement, basically. When we look at this on the monthly time frame, we can see maybe it's got a little bit of up room up to the early 2016 high. And really, this has been nothing more than a long sideways consolidation, which started in 2013. The range of it is basically about 1100 to 1400. So it's coming up to that psychological level in at 14. And just like I stated with silver, when it broke past that that key variable of around 18 or 21 and change rather, when it breaks this key variable of 14, you can see some interesting moves, not only to get to its previous high at about 19, but obviously the break then and thereafter above that level. I think it is worth note on this 18 average, from this whole point it's been in declining mode. It's now barely going higher, but it still needs to get above this key resistance for me on this time frame to put this in a nice good bull market, rather now neutral with a very heavy up bias. And heavy up bias for two reasons: because it came from a very amazing bull market, and because I like its short-term patterns. So that's why it's a heavy up bias, but as long as it's in this range, it stays neutral. Platinum on the daily time frame, well, I guess you could call it totally neutral. This 18 average is doing nothing more than going sideways. It's at the upper end of the 18 average of highs right now, and it needs to get above here for it to be in a nice full-fledged bull market, so basically over 1200 or so. But on the daily, it has had a very beautiful run since this bottom. Nice little support lift in here, and then a nice move higher. And right now, it's just leaving this 18 average of highs. Meanwhile, it's had 3 days before this one, which established a level of resistance where it's at now, barely taking it out at this point. So going any further, I'm looking towards this resistance in here between 1030 and 1045. Palladium is next, and on its daily time frame, it had a few days of going down, starting to rally a little bit today after coming back to where it came from here. Before this, 900, if there's going to be further decline, huge area of support, then you can see the next band would be here. But as far as the price action for palladium, it's been nothing more than very, very bullish. And when we expand this out to the weekly, it's been in a very beautiful, choppy bull market because it's had this correction, a lot of wild corrections. And there hasn't been one since this last one in here, as far as a key resistance point in around 910. This was a key high we can see here from 2014. It resisted, has one small pullback, has taken it out with a clear break right now. If there's going to be any further decline, we can see it hasn't quite yet got back down to 910, but that most certainly would be an area I'd look for support if there's going to be further. Yet when I look at this on the monthly time frame, I can see that it's breaking this really big level hit again in 2011 as well. And where's the next key point? Well, it's a high back in 2001, 2002 time frame of a little over the 1050 mark, and that's not too far away from it here. So as far as key support in here, I've already talked about that more shorter term number, but basically this whole band from about 750 upwards to about 900 would be resistance for where it came from. If there's going to be further decline, I would expect first to at least have a test of this resistance before you get there. But the market's going to do what it's going to do. I just analyze what I think from what I see, what's going to happen. And I like these precious metals because I do not like the fiat debt-based currency system. So I believe precious metals, especially for me, silver holds great wealth. It's something in which has real value that is used to have something that takes a lot of work, a lot of money to mine. So I'm happy to own it for that purpose. And gold, I barely own. And then palladium and platinum, I don't. I'd like to get some palladium, but I have to pay taxes on it too, which kind of sucks. There's no taxes on gold and silver in Canada for the bullion, but surprisingly, there is on palladium. And that's quite a hefty increase when you talk about over 10%. All right then, so thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.